How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is John and I'll give you regular updates on the world of space and tech, so let's get into it. When you're preparing to send astronauts around the moon, there's one thing NASA absolutely cannot afford to do, and that is to rush things. And that's exactly why the latest Artemis II testing has been getting so much attention. A recent full launch rehearsal didn't go as planned. Technical issues forced engineers to stop the test early, and this raised new questions about the timeline for the first crewed lunar mission in more than 50 years. Now NASA is working through repairs, additional testing and procedural changes, all to make sure the system is ready before astronauts ever climb on board. So in this video, let's take a clear look at what went wrong, what's already been fixed, and what still needs to be proven before Artemis II can move forward. Before we talk about the problems, it's important to understand what this test actually is. A wet dress rehearsal is a full simulation of launch day. The rocket is rolled out to the pad, the countdown is performed, and the tanks are filled with real cryogenic fuel. The only thing missing is ignition. This test validates fueling procedures, ground equipment, countdown timing, and safety systems. If something fails here, it's not a mission failure, but it does mean there's still risks that need to be addressed. During the first rehearsal attempt, two major issues actually forced NASA to stop the test. Problem 1, a hydrogen leak in the Space Launch System. Problem 2, a concern involving the Orion spacecraft hatch. Both issues matter, but the hydrogen leak was the bigger challenge. Liquid hydrogen is extremely difficult to contain. The molecules are tiny, and even the smallest imperfection in a seal or connection can allow gas to escape. And because hydrogen is highly flammable, even small leaks require immediate investigation. NASA has dealt with hydrogen issues before, so engineers take this problem very serious. The highest area that had the concentration of hydrogen was near the tail service umbilical. This is the structure that connects ground systems to the rocket. Each mast supplies cryogenic fuel, provides electrical connections, and disconnects automatically at liftoff. If this system doesn't seal properly, fueling operations cannot continue safely. Technicians inspected both sides of the interface, the ground side and the rocket side, and they were looking for possible leak paths. So you're probably wondering, what has NASA actually fixed? So NASA has already taken several corrective steps. Engineers replaced two seals where hydrogen levels exceeded limits. They removed and inspected the original components. They analysed the materials to understand the root cause. Then once fuel tanks were drained, teams accessed the affected area and replaced seals on the fuel line interfaces. These repairs were completed before moving on to the next phase of testing. But NASA isn't stopping there. Before another full rehearsal, engineers want more confidence that the repair will hold. Additional testing is being performed at the Stennis Space Center, where engineers can simulate the mechanical behavior of the interface under operational conditions. The goal is simple: make sure the fix works before loading the rocket again, because once astronauts are involved, there's no room for uncertainty. NASA has also adjusted how the next wet dress rehearsal will be conducted. One major change involves around the Orion hatch. For this test, the hatch will already be closed. The closeout crew will not be deployed, and the crew access arm operations will not be repeated. These steps narrow the focus of the test. The priority now is clear: verify fueling operations and eliminate hydrogen leaks. NASA has also modified the countdown timeline. Engineers added an extra 30 minutes to each of the two planned holds. That gives teams about an hour of additional time to diagnose problems without cancelling the test. Importantly, this change only affects ground operations. The actual astronaut timeline for launch day remains unchanged. The 4 Artemis II astronauts have already completed their post-test quarantine and returned to training. Right now they are testing Orion systems, practicing mission timelines, and preparing for every phase of the flight. Once a launch date is confirmed, they will return to quarantine again. So NASA is still targeting a launch window around March, although no official date has been announced yet. So if the next wet dress rehearsal is a success, then we can look forward to seeing an actual launch date coming up soon. It's worth remembering why this mission is so important. Some critics say Artemis II is just a flyby because it won't land on the moon. But that misses the point. The mission will test life support systems, deep space navigation, long distance communications, radiation exposure conditions. It'll be the first time since Apollo that humans have travelled beyond low Earth orbit, and the data collected will directly support future lunar landings. At the same time, NASA's partners are moving quickly. SpaceX is developing a Starship for lunar missions. Blue Origin is working on its Blue Moon lander. The long-term goal isn't just visiting the moon, it's building a sustained human presence there. That means Artemis II isn't just another test, it's a critical step towards a permanent lunar future. So right now NASA is doing exactly what it should be doing, finding problems, fixing them, and then testing again. Delays and technical issues may sound worrying, but in human spaceflight they're actually a sign that the system is being taken seriously. Because when astronauts are sitting on top of a fully fueled rocket, there's no margin for guesswork. Artemis II still has work ahead before it's ready. But each repair, each test, and each adjustment brings NASA one step closer. And if the next rehearsal goes as planned, the mission that sends humans back around the moon could finally be within reach. Because returning to deep space isn't just about launching rockets, it's about making sure every system works before anyone leaves the ground. And there's a bigger picture here that's worth keeping in mind. Artemis II isn't just another test flight, it represents something that hasn't happened for more than 50 years, sending humans beyond low Earth orbit. Since the end of the Apollo program, nearly all human spaceflight has stayed close to Earth, operating within the safety of low Earth orbit. The moon changes that. Astronauts will be travelling much farther from Earth, outside of the protection of our planet's magnetic field, and completely dependent on their own spacecraft for survival. There's no quick rescue option. If something goes wrong, Orion has to handle it on its own. That's why NASA moves carefully. Every delay, every inspection, and every additional test is part of the same goal, reducing risk as much as possible before the mission ever leaves the ground. Because Artemis II isn't just about flying around the moon, it's about proving that humans can operate safely in deep space once again. If this mission succeeds, it clears the path for Artemis III, the mission planned to land astronauts back on the lunar surface. And beyond that, the long-term goal is even bigger. Building a sustained human presence on the moon, and eventually preparing for missions to Mars. So while the recent testing issues may seem like setbacks, they're actually part of the process that makes human spaceflight possible. Progress in space has never been fast, but it has always depended on careful engineering, patience, and constant testing. And if NASA gets Artemis II right, it won't just be another mission, it will actually be the moment human deep space exploration truly begins. And I feel that we're not that far away, guys. The testing has been going on and on. These guys have been working around the clock. So just watch this space. We really don't have that long left. And I can't wait. I'm pretty sure that you guys can't wait either. So put a message in the comments. Let me know what you think of everything going on with Artemis II. Because it's all looking good. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again for watching, guys. Take care.